Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best external SSD for PS5.
Starting at number 5.
Seagate FireCuda 530. Even nearly 3 years on the Seagate FireCuda 530 is a tough act to follow as far as the best SSDs for PS5 go. It features the excellent FireCuda E18 controller paired with 176-layer Micron TLC flash memory for performance that's hard to beat, as it's capable of reaching rates of up to 7,300 megabytes per second read speeds. In our testing, we found that this top-performing drive achieved 6,539 megabytes per second sequential read speeds, making it still one of the fastest models that you can slot into your PS5's M.2 port to this day. At its time of release, the Seagate FireCuda 530 was incredibly expensive. While it's still pricey in the highest configurations, as many Gen 4.0 drives are, the cost of a new drive has come down dramatically over the years. As a result, you can pick up the 1TB variant for around $129.99/£239.99 and the 2TB version for $239.99/£414.78.
Coming at number 4.
Samsung 990 Pro. The Samsung 990 Pro maxes out what's possible with NVMe Gen 4.0 technology in a way that few other SSDs for PS5 can. Available in either 1TB or 2TB configurations, this high-speed drive is seriously impressive across the board compared to the competition. In our testing, we found that the Samsung 990 Pro was able to achieve read and write speeds of 7,465.49 megabytes per second of 6,887.68 megabytes per second respectively in our industry standard tests. That's a considerable improvement on the brand's previous flagship model, increases the drive's speed by around 50%. Loading times and file transfer times are equally impressive. In our testing, around 10 gigabytes of data made the jump to this NVMe SSD in less than 4 seconds, which is incredibly fast. Keep in mind that the Samsung 990 Pro is a little pricier than some other SSDs for PS5 in our roundup at the moment. You can currently expect to pay around £169.99/£255/265 for the 1TB version and £289.99/£439 for the larger 2TB variant. This high price tag is what keeps this drive from reaching the top spot in our roundup, but we're sure that it will begin to receive regular discounts in the coming months. It also happens to run quite hot when pushed to its limits, so be sure to get the version with the PS5 compatible heatsink installed, or fit your own, for the best experience.
At number 3.
WD Black SN850 SSD. The WD Black SN850 is easily up there as a top pick for the best SSD for PS5 when you're looking at options are officially endorsed by Sony. This storage drive, famously used by the console's architect Mark Cerny, far exceeds the 5,500 megabytes per second read requirements from Sony and utilizes a thick heatsink to ensure that thermal throttling doesn't impact your gaming performance when the console heats up. Something else that really propels the WD Black SN850 ahead of some of the competition is its aggressive price-to-performance capabilities. In 2024, it is entirely possible to pick up the 1TB variant for around the $150 mark, with the bigger 2TB configuration frequently retailing at, or under, $200. Although we don't recommend it quite so strongly, the standard non-branded heatsink model can frequently be found hovering around $130. Just be aware, however, that you will need to fit your own heatsink in order to use this model with your PS5.
Number 2 of my list.
Adata XPG Gammix. The Adata XPG Gammix S70 Blade is a brilliant budget SSD for PS5. It is competitively priced compared to its rivals and performs just as well as some of the flagship models in our roundup. In our testing, We found that this drive clocked in at whopping 6,384 megabytes per second sequential read speed. The build quality of the Adata XPG Gammix S70 blade is where the more modest pricing becomes the most apparent, however. The low-profile heatsink, while adequate enough, just isn't as robust as what you'll find on more high-end offerings. Considering that the 1TB version costs just $84.99/£87.13/$161.95 and the 2TB comes in at only $169.99/£161.52/$362.78. This is something that we think can be overlooked. Performance is the most important factor with any SSD for PS5, and the Adata XPG Gammix S70 blade is no slouch where speed is concerned. We were impressed to see some top-end games like Horizon, Forbidden West and Death Stranding. Director's Cut loading faster on this PS5 SSD than when played on the console's native storage. If you're on a tight budget, we think that the 1TB model is a hard value to beat given just how fast it is.
And number 1.
Kingston Fury Renegade SSD. The Kingston Fury Renegade excels across the board and can easily be considered one of the best SSDs for PS5. That's because this model, which comes with a dedicated heatsink to ensure compatibility with the console, delivers high sequential performance that we haven't seen from many other drives at the price point. In our testing, we found that the Kingston Renegade scored a sequential read figure of 6,500 megabytes per second in Sony's internal benchmarking test. That easily makes it the quickest drive that we have ever got our hands on. For comparison, most other drives we tested tended to hover around the 6,100 megabytes per second mark. Speed and build quality aside, another of the Kingston Fury Renegade SSD's major strengths is its competitive price point. You can get the 1TB variant for just $117.99/£152.40/£197.21, while the 2TB version runs at $244.19/£360.93. It's an aggressive price point given the prowess of the hardware inside, which includes the excellent FireCuda E18 controller.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.